Welcome everybody to Nine Vibes video that is going to go over some really awesome revelations. All right, we're going to jump right into it. The very first thing I want to say is this is going to be a little bit more advanced. It's going to be a little bit quick. It's going to be a little bit more advanced. So if you're looking for something like Vortex Math, what Tesla was talking about when he talked about 3, 6, and 9, Fibonacci sequence, all of that stuff, I will put links down below so that you can click on them and you can either go through my videos or go through other people's videos to get caught up to where we are. All right. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is going to be the platonic solids. All right. There are 5 platonic solids. There is the tetrahedron, which is basically the triangle. There is the icosahedron, which is air. It is just a different shape. Has 20 different sides. There is the octahedron, which is basically 2 triangles on top of each other. There's the cube, which you're going to see right here on my page. And there is the dodecahedron. And the dodecahedron is ether, and it is basically it represents all of the shapes. And all 4 platonic solids are found inside of the dodecahedron. Okay, so 5 platonic solids, and the one that we're going to talk about is going to be the cube, because this is where it gets really interesting. All right, so I'm going to show you my page right here. As you can see, I've got the cube. Those of you that know about Vortex Math, the very first thing that you're going to notice right off the bat is I have labeled this exactly like Vortex Math, as you can see right here. 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Anyone that knows about Vortex Math knows it works like this. 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 7, 7 to 5, and 5 to 1. Okay, Vortex Math is a mathematical sequence that is revealed when you deal with basic doubling and multiplication. And again, if you want to learn about that, I'll put a link below that'll guide you through everything that you want to know about Vortex Math. But for right now, this is where we're at. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, and 1. And so what I did is I placed it onto my cube. Okay? 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. Again, as you can see, the very first thing you'll notice is that 8 and 1 equal to 9, 7 and 2 equal to 9, 6 and 3 equal to 9, and 4 and 5 equal to 9. All right? So this is perfection in terms of aligning with 9. The other thing that you will notice is the 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1, or just the repeating of that pattern, fits perfectly within my cube, as you can see right here. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. And this is the energy that will never stop. It is the infinity pattern. It will continuously go forever. Okay, so it's the first thing I noticed when I applied this information to a cube, because there is some phenomenal information that you can find if you look up Lucien Kahn. You can find his information that he's done with the Fibonacci sequence and time and placing it on a sphere or a circle. What I thought I'd do is I would place it on a cube, and what was revealed to me was really awesome. So let's just jump into it. So as you can see around our ticks and inside our ticks, and I'm going to show you what each one of these represents. But first we need to talk about the Fibonacci sequence. Again, this is not a beginner's course. So if you don't know what the Fibonacci sequence is, I'm going to talk about it a little bit, but I will put a link below so that you can learn everything that you want to learn about it. All right, but the Fibonacci sequence is a sequence of numbers that follow a specific pattern that was found by a scientist who was monitoring how bunnies duplicate, how they replicate. And so from this, they discovered this 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 30, 34, 55 pattern that continues to go on and on forever. And what it is it is the previous added to the next that gives you the next in line. So 1 plus 1 is 2. And 1 plus 2 is 3, and 2 plus 3 is 5, and 3 plus 5 is 8, and that's how it goes. It adds what was before into the present to come up with the next number. Okay? There are 2 different ways that you can technically there are 3 different ways that you can pull information from the Fibonacci sequence. Okay? The first one is you can pull the first digit of the Fibonacci sequence. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 1. You can pull the first digit from the Fibonacci sequence. You could use this if you wanted to apply it to Benford's law, which pulls the first digit of any number. You can also pull the digital root of the Fibonacci sequence. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. This would be 1 plus 3 because you want to add anything that is above a single digit. So 1 plus 3 would be 4. So the next one would be 4. 2 plus 1 is 3. So that would be 3. Or 3 plus 4, which is going to be 7, and that would be your next one. The other set of information that you can pull from this that is an option is going to be to pull the final digit, to pull the last digit of the Fibonacci sequence. So as you can see here, you would have 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 3, 1, 4, 5, 9, 4, 3, and it would continue going on and on. So there are 3 different ways that you can actually pull data from the Fibonacci sequence. All right, and now that we've talked a little bit about the Fibonacci sequence and a little bit about these 3 bits of data, I'm going to show you how it applies to the cube. Okay, so if we go back to the cube, you can see that I have ticks on the outside and ticks on the inside. And the reason for that is because we're going to apply numbers to those. But before we get into that, I want to show you, because those of you that have watched the Alpha and the Omega series that I have done, Alpha is 137649. The Omega is 862350. And when you apply that to this, look at the shape that you get. It's just absolutely beautiful imperfection. And so this is what ends up happening whenever you have 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, and 1. And when you have 1, 3, 7, 6, 4, and 9. And when you have 8, 6, 2, 3, 5, and then you would have 0 at the bottom or 0 at the top because it would be the same. So there's some really awesome stuff that kind of reveals itself when you're aligning numbers and shapes together. But the next one that I'm going to talk about is going to be what it looks like when you put the Fibonacci sequence to this. So let's go ahead and jump into that right now. All right. So it's a little bit hard to see, but I'm going to explain everything that is on here really quick. All right. The first thing is the outside right here is going to have the Fibonacci sequence as a digital root. Okay, so it is going to be the digital root that I was talking about, where you add the 2 numbers together or the multiple numbers together to get one single number. And that is going to be 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 4, 3, 7, 1, 8, 9, and it is going to continue going around, coming full circle of repeating itself at the 60th point. The next one is going to be the Lucian, which is going to be the last number. And this reveals some really powerful stuff. A big shout out to Lucian Khan who figured this out. All right. So applying this information and applying his information to a cube gives you even more in-depth results. Because as you can see right here, when I added the green half on this side right here, I ended up with 137. So that's the first thing that is absolutely awesome. Those of you that have been following 9 Vibes know that 137 is a powerful number. It is found when you are dealing with the first numbers, the original numbers that were ever created, when you're dealing with the 27, 54, and 108. It is also 27 and 37 are replicas of each other. So when you divide 1 divided by 27, you end up with 0.037. And when you do the opposite, 1 divided by 37, you end up with 0.027. These are the only numbers that do this. They just mirror each other. And when you add them up together, you end up with 64. Well, 64 is a number that is used in the cube. Because if you were to align this right here with 4 and 4 and 4, you would end up having a 64 square cube. And that is really awesome when you're dealing with these actual numbers. But before we get into that, let's just go back to the basics of what we're talking about. 137 is when you add this half right here of numbers in the Fibonacci sequence. Okay? This side over here, when you add it up, or basically the left-hand side, is going to be 140. Now, at first I thought to myself, doesn't really mean much to me. The 137 I was impressed with. The 140, not so much. Until I remembered something else. When you add 140 to 137, you end up with 277. And this matters very, very importantly because of the fact that, let me go to this slideshow I have here, and go to where we want to actually be. All right, so when you're dealing with the trinities, all right, and you add these, so 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. Okay, you also have a formula now. 111 divided by 3 is going to be 37. 222 divided by 6 is going to be 37. 333 divided by 9 is going to be 37. So as you can see, this pattern already reveals itself with this power of this number 37. But when you apply quads, when you apply fours, it gets really interesting. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. And the formula is 1,111 divided by 4 is going to give you 277.5. Okay, each one of these, as you can see, it's going to do the exact same formula. It's going to give you 277.75. When you are dealing with digital roots, you can drop out the decimal afterwards. And so therefore, when you are dealing with this, go back to the numbers we were dealing with. All right, 140 plus 137 is 277. 277 plus 37 is 3.14 pi. Okay, so when you take that number 277 and you add the 37, you end up with pi. And as you can see here, 140 plus 137 is that 277. So it's like having parts of a puzzle. Okay, you don't know why 277 matters. We have no idea why it does until you actually start dealing with the numbers, when you start seeing the duplicates and the triplets and the quads of these numbers, and then all of a sudden things start to fall into place. So here it is, where I just did a video that was talking about the fact that if you end up adding and you end up dividing by the exact same number, you end up with these two random numbers, 37 and 277. And 277 plus 37 is 314, which is pi. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's the very first thing that you notice in this. But it gets much better, because the next thing you're going to notice inside of the first set of ticks is going to be the Fibonacci sequence from the last digit. And the last digit is going to be these numbers that go all the way around. And the first thing that you will notice from this is going to be 1, 7, 9, and 3. Okay, these are the only numbers on this that, if you notice, have 0 between them and hit all 4 points of direction. So you have north, east, west, and south. And it just so happens that north is 101, east is 707, south is 909, and west is 303. So there is my 137, again, just right there, just by aligning this with the Fibonacci. That's twice that you've seen it. And anybody that doesn't know anything about 137, it is a mystical, powerful number. Every physicist makes a joke about putting it on their wall because it will haunt them. They have no idea why it comes up over and over and all of these different places. We have no idea why it is that the fine structure constant ends up being the exact formula of whether or not an atom repels or absorbs light. But that's what it is. And if for whatever reason this number was shifted just slightly, just a fraction off, we wouldn't even exist. So this number is highly powerful. It's also in the Kabbalah. If you really want to do some studying, you can find it in the Bible. You can find it in the age of Abraham when he bound his son. You can find it in Levi and other people at the age that they actually died. There's some very interesting information that is dropped about 137 that is in the Bible or in the Kabbalah. So that's another area that you can find it, other than physicists and other than this. All right, so let's go ahead and jump back into this, though. So you've got the 137. You also have the 9, which those of you that are following this, 9 vibes, we love our 9s. So as you can see, you have 9 as well. All right, you also have 3.14. You have pi at the very top of this. 3.14 is located here. All right, so let's look at this real quick. We have the last digits is going to be 60 seconds. Okay, so as you can see, this is 60 ticks, and so therefore the last digits of the Fibonacci represent the 60 seconds in a day. The digital root, however, repeats after 24. So it's very interesting that it'll go for 24 and then it will repeat all over again. And once it starts repeating at 24, we have applied that to the hours. So you have 60 seconds, 60 minutes, or you have 24 hours. Okay. So again, we're taking Lucien Kahn's time and circle, and we're just applying it to a cube to reveal different alignments, because when you align a cube and you align a circle, they cross at different places. All right, so you end up revealing some different information. So as you can see here, the other thing that I did is I basically applied these numbers if they were to be applied to the directions. So north would be 1, east would be 7, west would be 3, and south would be 9. So when you put the 1, 3, 7 together, that's where you get the revealment of the 1, 3, 7. The other thing that's really awesome that you can find in here is the Vesuvius Man, because if you were to put a head right here and then have the arms stretched out and the legs going down, you notice that each place that a hand and a foot would be located is a 5. So you end up having 5. Now, a really cool thing that a lot of people don't know is that if you end up taking 5 times 4, which is 20, and add 2, because you have 2 points, right? You have a head up here, and so 1 plus 1 is 2. If you end up dividing 22 divided by 7, you have 7 chakras. The Bible talks about the 7 candles. The Bible talks about the 7 churches. But I like to focus on the chakras. You have 7 profound chakras. You have your root chakra. You have your solar plexus chakra. You have your sacral chakra. You have your heart chakra, your throat chakra, your third eye chakra, and your crown chakra. That is your 7 chakras. So 22 divided by 7 is 3.14 pi. Okay, so just in this little bit that I'm showing you here, we have revealed 137, the fine structure constant, twice. We have revealed pi in 3 different locations. We have added up the outside numbers and ended up with a combination that aligns with a number that we see when we're dealing with the 4s of the digital roots, so 1 through 9. We have seen time from 60 seconds, we have seen time from 24 hours, and we have also seen direction. Finally, just to look at this, 90 degrees, because each one of these turns right here is 90 degrees, and 90 times 4 ends up being 360. So you end up with the circle, the completion of a circle, which is 360, found within the completion of a cube. And I think that's absolutely awesome. So basically, that's the information that I have on this. This is as far as I have gotten. The revealment of 137 in multiple places, the revealment of pi in multiple places, the revealment of time from the seconds to the hours located on here, the directions of north, south, east, and west, which is also very interesting because a cube in the 5 platonic solids represents degrees of 2160 or 2160. And it just so happens that ends up being the total degrees that are in a cube and also the diameter of the moon. So I'm not exactly sure how all that aligns, but I do know that this information aligns in a way that is going to fit together. I just not sure from this point on. So if you have any information you want to add to this, I think that would be absolutely awesome. I would love to hear anything anyone has to say. Drop your comments down below. The next thing that we're going to be talking about on my next video is going to be how to align these cubes and how the numbers reveal some really awesome connections. All right. So thank you for watching. I look forward to the comments down below. Have a good day. Get your 9 vibes alive.